we invite to give the floor to the Minister of Palestine, Riyad Mansour.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Estoy honrado.
I am very honored to be accepted here, to be seated here with all these global leaders, so distinguished foreign ministers of Colombia, ministers of foreign affairs and heads of South Africa, my dear friends. I would like to begin this conference that is so on due time here in Bogota, in Colombia, arranged by the Hague Group and all friends that are supporting these initiatives, these practical and concrete initiatives, as very important articles of Colombian president that was published on The Guardian, declaring accurately that what we need is a reaffirmation of the principles. What we need is the implementation. We need to take actions. So this conference, the conference of Madrid and other future conferences are just moving leading to a new atmosphere, a new scenario in the struggle of the Palestinian people to implement the international right and the will of the international community that is reflected in the opinion given by the ISG and the resolution of the Security Council and the General Assembly. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends, I am honored to represent Palestine. To represent Palestine on this historical meeting, and allow me to express my appreciation to Colombia for hosting this meeting and supporting mainly the Hague Group and all countries and organizations represented here today in different levels of representation. So we know very well that this takes also responsibilities for the crimes that are currently committed. Can be a very dangerous labor, as we have just been witnessing with the sanctions of the travel ban of the International Criminal Court. And so we see a manifestation of courage in which all war policies double the principles of action ahead of violence and complicity of genocide. You are the bywords that are just opening the doors. So you are going to be followed by others, and history have accounted that the emergence of historical changes required a group of brave people to open doors for others to follow. So you are the brave people here in this meeting, that you are just opening the door for more actions. So instead of feeling overwhelmed of the crimes committed, we are just looking for those that justify those offenses, those crimes, and the key values in which we believe that humanity must work are just split, separated, shattered to pieces, as thousands of people have been killed and have been suffering from famine. Hundreds of thousands of them, including in the West Bank. So 2 million Palestinians have children. And so when they search for water, they end up being attacked, bombed, and displaced. But we see that they continue the onslaught, so that people that sell weapons earn a lot of money because of this. So this is simply an irregular order that doesn't validate the system of values that humanity have been developing in the last 80 years. The genocide in Gaza and the illegal occupation of Israel in Palestine violate unstoppable violations and abuses of the international rights perpetrated by Israel, have been supported by their allies, and the overwhelming impunity that they can develop all these crimes. So it is simply the new law that prevails in the vast majority of our humanity. So they just, the law that motivates the Hague Group and the understanding that these crimes and impunity threaten humanity, not only the Palestinian people, they just determined what advice they must follow, justice and responsibility, because these are just countermeasures enabled for these crimes. So we are today united for our humanity and our joint outreach against the constant crimes against the Palestinian people. Their suffering is a warning of humanity, because this could be the rule, aggression, onslaught, lack of humanity, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. So we must not allow this reality. Friends, it is hard to it is hard to make sense of everything that is happening. Our hearts and minds cannot picture the pain that our people is suffering. The genocide of Israel is devastating. It is ending up each daily aspect of life. As our meeting today and our collective efforts are inspiring and empowered, they search for hope in this dark moment, so we can demonstrate to our children and future generations worldwide that we are doing the things right for them, because we rise up for them, for a more humane world, that we cannot surrender or leave them aside, for them to be a prey of brutality, expansionism, and perpetual everlasting injustice. So we must bring those to justice as an element of peace, and we cannot see impunity as regular and avoid that those crimes be committed. So this is a vicious spiral that could end humanity. We cannot surrender, and we cannot be prey not only for the welfare of Palestine but also for humanity. So bringing those to justice is not that the only thing that we must rebuild. We must be against the apartheid and avoid that this must happen again. So we can protect Palestinians by bringing them their freedom and dignity in their own land. Israeli, we must not allow the Israel that in an active way they take over the Palestinian territory and commit the ethnic cleansing and wipe out Palestinians of the earth. And so debating on recognizing Palestine or not. So those who haven't recognized Palestine, they must take that step, because 149 countries have already recognized Palestine, and there are others on their way, and they must do it as soon as possible, including greatest European countries and in Asia and in North America. I am referring to Canada. So we must not allow in an active, practical way to eliminate Palestinian people while other states debate on recognizing Palestine or not. So recognizing Palestine is not a symbolic act, it's an act of defense against the rejection, and it is a rejection against the colonialist expansionism. I am here in front of a lot of friends representing states that took this principle and took these first steps, Colombia, one of them, that understand the meaning, and uniting this acknowledgement with the actions to counter the crimes of Israel, including the detention of the selling of illegal selling of weapons and illegal spaces. So you are the brave ones. You are the ones that started with the goal, with an action against the arrival of that meeting on July 28th. The continuation of this meeting will be continued, and what we are doing as the Hague Group that emerged from the meeting of counselors of the International Crime Court that said that, among other things, that Israel is violating the rights of the Palestinian people, denying their rights, violating their rights, allowing the illicit settlements, avoiding the self-determination, and creating a determination and an apartheid, allowing a war in the Gaza Strip. This system is illegal and must be stopped as soon as possible. The General Assembly raises the question to the International Crime Court and decided and ruled out that this illicit occupation must end in a year. And they requested that on the foundation of this question of the International Criminal Court, that to be able to implement this opinion, that we must hold an international conference guided to the actions to those who have the privilege to see the document that was created on that conference, that was just targeted to the actions, as the Hague Group requested a conference, and as the Group of Madrid requested a guideline to the action. All these efforts are going to be united, and so they will continue to work in parallel, complementing each other to succeed to break the change or the basis of this illegal occupation, and so ending the Palestinian group, and so for them to have independence and sovereignty in their own lands. That must be the goal. That is the goal, and that is what we collectively will achieve to do, because everyone in a collective way managed to break the apartheid that's happened in South Africa and the foundations of that brutal system against humanity. So we must do the same related to the Palestinian people. This is only the beginning, it's not the end. All these efforts are solely the beginning, and then we must assess a structure of how to continue implementing the opinions about the ICJ and allowed that the Palestinian people enjoy freedom and independence in their own independent state of Palestine, and for it we must reach the global consensus on the solution of two states. It won't be an exercise in theoretical policies or theater as the international conference. The conference will take assertive steps by rendering accounts because the historical commitment of human rights and the rights of the Palestinian people of their self-determination is very important. It is the time to take real actions, effective actions that could punish the crimes and that avoid the profits gained from the genocide. So rendering accounts for the occupation, it is not going to bring justice, but a free Palestine will release humanity from shame and grief that arouse from the devastating consequences of this illicit occupation that is based on brutality and crimes. So rendering accounts and freedom could give our occupiers the possibility to reflect, to mull over the banality of cruelty and the insanity that has been regular in the services of colonization and genocide. This is a way for peace. Everyone can defend it and work for it. It is a legacy that future generations could enjoy, because all our joint humanity could reestablish the right of law and not illegality as a regulation. And I could say, as a Palestinian, that the maximum sacrifice won't be to be abandoned by all of you or by humanity or by those laws or people that defend the international right and humanity, and that effectively we will defeat genocide and make our people receive assistance, and so we will defeat the crimes against humanity and displacement, and we will give our people and the millions of children in Gaza and all Palestinian children give a hope of a future that is not full of wars and destruction and denial of their childhood, but a future full of promises, hope, independence and dignity. And we all are determined to reach this with your help and efforts. I really appreciate you.